Hey y'all, how are you doing? I'm great. Thank you so much for asking. It's me, Kim, and I am back for another video. Oh my goodness. One, we have so many things to go over. We have a lot. We have a lot to do here. One, Happy New Year. We can still say that, right? We're only on the 4th or the 5th. The 4th? Tomorrow's the 5th, right? Because it's J5. My boyfriend's a Kappa. Hi. I hope that your new year has been as great as mine. I feel like I've gotten off to a great start. I am starting to do a lot of late night streams. My last few streams have been later in the day because my days are filled with me getting so much stuff done. I have developed a productivity system that works for now. But it's been working for the last couple months. I'm going to explain it, okay? And I, even before that, was not really posting over here. And we're going to get into why I wasn't really posting over here. It connects to the situation that's been happening with Claudine Gay. But yeah, we had some tests and trials to get here. Hi. Yeah. All right. By the way, this is not a premiere. This is me really live streaming at 10 o'clock at night. All right. Um, without further ado, let's talk about what recently happened to Dr. Claudine Gay, who was president of Harvard University for a whopping 6 months. And let's talk about what that means for our current culture and political climate. I am a Harvard grad. I'm sure that that's news, I'm sure. On January 2nd, Dr. Claudine Gay resigned as president of Harvard University. I have spoken about that extensively, both behind the paywall, and there is a public video where I got into as much as I'm comfortable talking about sharing on Instagram Live about I discussed what she's accused of and how I think she got there and my feelings about how Harvard handled the situation. What I have not yet talked about is how, on the same day that Dr. Gay resigned, the Harvard Corporation also published a statement. And there's been so much talk recently about the Harvard Corporation. I thought we would get into it. Yes. Yes. We're here. We're here together. Okay, let me share the statement from the Harvard Corporation. Question, wasn't she being misled in the questioning though? Okay, we'll get to that later. All right. But let's dive into what the Harvard Corporation said. This is their statement. Dear members of the Harvard community, with great sadness, we write in light of President Claudine Gay's message announcing her intention to step down from the presidency and resume her faculty position at Harvard. First and foremost, we thank President Gay for her deep and unwavering commitment to Harvard and to the pursuit of academic excellence. Throughout her long and distinguished leadership as Dean of Social Science, then as Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, where she skillfully led the fast through the COVID-19 pandemic and pursued ambitious new academic initiatives in areas such as quantum science and inequality, she demonstrated the insight, decisiveness, and empathy that are her hallmark. She believes passionately in Harvard's mission of education and research, and she cares profoundly about the people whose talents, ideas, and energy drive Harvard. She has devoted her career to an institution whose ideals and priorities she has worked tirelessly to advance. and we are grateful for the extraordinary contributions she has made and will continue to make as a leader, a teacher, a scholar, a mentor, and an inspiration to many. We are also grateful to Alan M. Garber, Provost and Chief Academic Officer, who has served with distinction in that role for the past 12 years, that's a long time, and who has agreed to serve as interim president until a new leader for Harvard is identified and takes office. An economist and a physician, he is distinguished, I think economics is fake. He is distinguished and wide-ranging scholar with appointments at Harvard Medical School, Harvard's Faculty of Arts and Sciences, the Harvard Kennedy School of Government, and the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. We are fortunate to have someone of Alan's broad and deep experience, incisive judgment, collaborative style, and extraordinary institutional knowledge to carry forward key priorities and to guide the university through this interim period. These past several months have seen Harvard and higher education face a series of sustained and unprecedented challenges. In the face of escalating controversy and conflict, President Gay and the fellows have sought to be guided by the best interests of the institution, whose future progress and well-being we are together committed to uphold. Her own message conveying her intention to step down eloquently underscores what those who have worked with her have long known. Her commitment to the institution and its mission is deep and selfless. It is with that overarching consideration in mind that we have accepted her resignation. We do so with sorrow. While President Gay has acknowledged missteps and has taken responsibility for them, it is also true that she has shown remarkable resilience in the face of deeply personal and sustained attacks. While some of this has played out in the public domain, much of it has taken the form of repugnant and in some cases racist vitriol directed at her through disgraceful emails and phone calls. We condemn such attacks in the strongest possible terms. The search for a new president of the university will begin in due course. We will be in further touch about the process, which will include broad engagement and consultation with the Harvard community in the time ahead. For today, we close by reiterating our gratitude to President Gay for her devoted service to Harvard, as well as to the Provost Garber for his willingness to lead the university through the interim period to come. We also extend our thanks to all of you for your continuing commitment to Harvard's vital educational and research mission, and to core values of excellence, inclusiveness, and free inquiry and expression. At a time when strife and division are so prevalent in our nation and our world, embracing and advancing that mission in a spirit of common purpose has never been more important. We live in difficult and troubling times and formidable challenges ahead. May our community, with its long history of rising through change and through storm, find new ways to meet those challenges together, and to affirm Harvard's commitment to generating knowledge, pursuing truth, and contributing through scholarship and education to a better world. The Fellows of Harvard College. Wow. Okay. So that's what they sent out to the Harvard community. Of course, it's public. There's been so much conversation about the Harvard Corporation. It's kind of secretive, and they have a ton of power. And, by the way, the Harvard Corporation is the oldest corporation in the United States. I don't know if anybody cares. It's just some random Harvard trivia. I thought I would share what the New York Times wrote up about the members. I do think that their backgrounds are useful here. Here it is. What house is that? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's okay. That's the president's house. Okay. Or the president's office. Okay. Amid the turmoil, here it is. Formerly known as the president and fellows of Harvard College, that's what I knew of, consists of 13 members. Okay, the board's smaller and more powerful two governing boards at Harvard dates back to 1650, making it the oldest corporation in the Western Hemisphere. Okay, not just the United States. Here we go. So these are the members. Timothy R. Brackett. And by the way, it's pretty, it's a lot of people of color on there currently. That's not Timothy Brackett. I guess they don't have an image of him. Maybe he wanted his, because Timothy Brackett is white. Treasurer and donor, he founded the now fallen hedge fund Atticus Capital, which he led as chairman and chief executive for 15 years. He is now the chief executive of TRB Advisors, a family investment firm he founded in 2010. Mr. Barraquette has also worked in philanthropy. He serves on the board of the Harvard Management Company, which manages Harvard's endowment. Okay. So Timothy Barakat is super rich. I would guess, if not a billionaire, hundreds of millions. Let's look. What is Timothy Barakat's net worth? $195 million. Oh, wait. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. A lot. Because it's not immediately saying, but there's no way it's not. It's got to be, I was going to say 195 is low. Low. But if his previous hedge fund went under, he might have taken a huge, huge hit from that. Anyways, sorry, let's not go deep down into that too much. Anyways, super, super rich. Sorry. Next, I get distracted, especially this late at night, girl. Ken Chenault. Everybody knows Ken Chenault. Went to college with his son, is the chairman and managing director for General Catalyst, a venture capital firm. Previously, he served as chairman and chief executive of American Express Company. Mr. Chenault has served on the boards of many influential corporations, including IBM and Procter & Gamble. He is also a board member of the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of African American History and Culture and Bloomberg Philanthropies. What is Ken Chenault's net worth? What is Kenneth Chenault? Now, this is the messy part of the evening. It says at least $249 million. At least. Oh, and you know how people sometimes will be like, oh, you can't get rich working a 9 to 5. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Okay, so that is Ken Chenault, a Negro. Mariano Florentino Cuellar. Okay, Mariano Florentino. Okay, former Justice of the Supreme Court of California, president of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, worked in the White House for the Clinton and Obama administrations, co-chair. Okay, probably not as rich, but definitely a rich person. Paul J. Finnegan, former treasurer, a former member of the Harvard Board of Overseers, we don't call it that anymore, and previous president of the Harvard Alumni Association, is the chairman of the Chicago-based private equity investment firm. Okay. Regional. Okay. Mr. Finnegan also serves on the board of the Harvard Management Company. Okay. Dr. Gay, undergraduate degree in economics from Stanford, PhD in government from Harvard. Okay. Biddy Martin, Karen Gordon Mills. A lot of Obama administration officials, a lot of Clinton administration officials. Yeah, here's Penny Pritzker, who is the lead member of the Harvard Corporation, real close with Barack Obama, billionaire. And I know y'all will be the people who want to debate whether or not you think Penny Pritzker is black. Girl, spare me, okay? So anyways, that's that. Let's look at what y'all are saying. There are a couple of women, and actually the lead is a woman, but you'll notice that all of these people are either liberal politicians or banking professionals, or super high up financial institution people, because it's money. And despite the fact that the Harvard Corporation is supposed to be distinct from the Harvard Management Company, and the management company are supposed to be the money people. Like, they are supposed to be the people who are primarily invested in maintaining the endowment. But, that's not really what happens. Okay. Okay, yeah, it used to be called, so for people, I see it in the chat. It used to be called the Harvard Board of Overseers. Now, honestly, it didn't really get changed until 2020. That was one of those great things that 2020 brought about, of saying, "Hey, maybe we should not call it the Board of Overseers anymore." I mean, who I honestly don't give a fuck, but that was our reparations. All right. So yesterday, Dr. Gay, let's get to the meat of the conversation. Yesterday, Dr. Gay published an op-ed in the New York Times. Claudine Gay, what just happened at Harvard is bigger than me. On Tuesday, I made the wrenching but necessary decision to resign as Harvard's president. Why have I started saying resign? Resign as Harvard's president. For weeks, both I and the institution to which I've devoted my professional life have been under attack. And yeah, she went to Harvard for grad school and never left. Okay, which is crazy. Okay. My character and intelligence have been impugned. My commitment to fighting anti Semitism has been questioned. My inbox has been flooded with invective, including death threats. I've been called the N word more times than I care to count. My hope is that by stepping down, I will deny demagogues the opportunity to further weaponize my presidency in their campaign to undermine the ideals animating Harvard since its founding: excellence, openness, independence, truth. As I depart, I must offer a few words of warning. The campaign against me was about more than one university and one leader. This was merely a single skirmish in a broader war to unravel public faith in pillars of American society. Campaigns of this kind often start with attacks on education and expertise, because these are the tools that best equip communities to see through propaganda. But such campaigns don't end there. Trusted institutions of all types, from public health agencies to news organizations, will continue to fall victim to coordinated attempts to undermine their legitimacy and ruin their leaders' credibility for the opportunist driving cynicism about our institutions. No single victory or toppled leader exhausts their zeal. Yes, I made mistakes in my initial response to the atrocities of October 7th. I should have stated more forcefully what all people of good conscience know. Hamas is a terrorist organization that seeks to eradicate the Jewish state. And at a congressional hearing last month, I fell into a well-laid trap. I neglected to clearly articulate that calls for the genocide of Jewish people are abhorrent and unacceptable, and that I would use every tool at my disposal to protect students from that kind of hate. Most recently, the attacks have focused on my scholarship. My critics found instances in my academic writings where some material duplicated other scholars' language without proper attribution. I believe all scholars deserve full and appropriate credit for their work. When I learned of these errors, I promptly requested corrections from the journals in which the flagged articles were published, consistent with how I've seen similar faculty cases handled at Harvard. I have never misrepresented my research findings, nor have I ever claimed credit for the research of others. Moreover, the citation errors should not obscure a fundamental truth. I proudly stand by my work and its impact on the field. Okay, girl. Despite the obsessive scrutiny of my peer-reviewed writings, bro. Sorry, I can't get off on this again, but as I will reiterate over and over again, so many people over the years have seen that work. But we can't get off into that. If you want to know my extended thoughts on how so many people over 25 years have seen that work, click the link below. It's my full, publicly appropriate thoughts on this stuff. I can't get into it again. But peer review is right. Okay. Despite the excessive scrutiny of my peer-reviewed writings, few have commented on the substance of my scholarship, which focuses on the significance of minority office holding in American politics. My research marshaled concrete evidence to show that when historically marginalized communities gain a meaningful voice in the halls of power, it signals an open door where before many saw only barriers. And that in turn strengthens our democracy. Throughout this work, I asked questions that had not been asked and used then cutting edge quantitative research methods and established a new understanding of representation in American politics. This was published in the nation's top political science journals and spawned important research by other scholars. Never did I imagine needing to defend decades old and broadly respected research. I know that's right. But the past several weeks have laid waste to truth. Those who had relentlessly campaigned to oust me since the fall often trafficked in lies and ad hominem insults, not reasoned arguments. They recycled tired racial stereotypes about Black talent and temperament. They pushed a false narrative of indifference and incompetence. It is not lost on me that I made an ideal canvas for projecting every anxiety about the generational and demographic changes unfolding on American campuses. A Black woman selected to lead a storied institution, someone who views diversity as a source of institutional strength and dynamism, someone who has advocated a modern curriculum that spans from the frontier of quantum science to the long neglected history of Asian Americans, someone who believes that a daughter of Haitian immigrants has something to offer to the nation's oldest university. I still believe that. As I return to teaching and scholarship, I will continue to champion access and opportunity, and I will bring to my work the virtue I discussed in the speech I delivered at my presidential inauguration: courage. Because it is courage that has buoyed me throughout my career, and it is courage that is needed to stand up to those who seek to undermine what makes universities unique in American life. Having now seen how quickly the truth can become a casualty amid controversy, I'd urge a broader caution. At tense moments, every one of us must be more skeptical than ever of the loudest and most extreme voices in our culture, however well organized or well connected they may be. Too often, they are pursuing self-serving agendas that should be met with more questions and less credulity. College campuses in our country must remain places where students can learn, share, and grow together, not spaces where proxy battles and political grandstanding take root. Universities must remain independent venues where courage and reason unite to advance truth, no matter what forces set against them. Claudine Gay is former president of Harvard University, where she is a professor of government and of African and African American studies. I believe deeply that history will absolve Claudine Gay. I know that that does not help her one tiny iota. But this is complete and utter bullshit. The premise of this is completely bullshit. And I will say over and over again, if every single scholar had their work combed over in a similar way, we would see lots of reputations ruined and heads toppled, because from what I understand, that is not unusual. The kind of inadequate citations that Claudine Gay exhibited in that work, from my understanding as a non-PhD'd, non-graduate schooled person, the PhD graduate school people that I know say that is everywhere. So now that she has resigned, hopefully with lots and lots of money, and is going to finish the rest of her career in the government department at Harvard, the people who are responsible for ruining her career, right, completely transforming the rest of her life, they are now taking a victory lap. Christopher Rufo was the first person to point out these inconsistencies, and he wrote a ridiculous op-ed in the Wall Street Journal. How we squeezed Harvard to push Claudine Gay out. Okay. The left has spent decades consolidating power across the institutions of American academic life. The crowning achievement of that effort was the diversity, equity, and inclusion bureaucracy, constructed to perpetuate progressive dominance of higher education by keeping conservatives out of the professoriate. The professorate. I'm sorry, I can't mispronounce words.
Professoriate.
Professoriate. Claudine Gay was in some respects the apotheosis of this process. Last year, Miss Gay, an African-American political scientist with a thin publishing history, became Harvard University's 30th president. On Monday, following a sequence of scandals involving anti-Semitism and plagiarism, she resigned. Many observers on both left and right had assumed that Miss Gay was untouchable. Harvard, they thought, couldn't possibly transgress a core tenet of modern progressive politics: the idea that a leader's immutable qualities, such as race or sex, should matter more than character, merit, and academic achievement. I'm sorry, this is crazy. That's crazy. It's just not, we're talking about somebody who went from Phillips Exeter Academy to Stanford to getting a PhD at Harvard and teaching at Harvard, and then becoming Dean of Social Sciences and then Dean of Faculty of Arts and Sciences, which is all of the grad schools and all of the undergrad. Come on. Do you think that, it's crazy. I just can't. Let's move on. What changed? First, public support for DEI has cratered following the outpouring of sympathy on elite campuses for Hamas's war of decolonization against Israel. Many Americans, including many center-left liberals, became aware of the ideological rot within academic institutions. They began to question the sweet-sounding euphemisms of DEI and examine what they mean in practice. Second, the political right has learned how to fight more effectively. As one of the journalists who first exposed the similarities between Miss Gay's published work and that of other scholars, I watched the political dynamics develop from the inside. The key, I learned, is that any activist campaign has 3 points of leverage: reputational, financial, and political. This is so sick, you guys. This is really sick. Okay. For some institutions, 1 point of leverage is enough. But for a powerful one, such as Harvard, the squeeze must work across multiple angles. This is precisely what happened. Journalists, including the independent reporter Christopher Brunette and the Washington Free Beacon's Aaron Sibarium, applied reputational pressure, exposing Miss Gay's alleged plagiarism and Harvard's scandalous effort to cover it up. Donors, led by hedge fund manager Bill Ackman, applied financial pressure, withholding $1 billion in contributions, and Congress, under the leadership of Representative Elise Stefanik, class of 2006, applied political pressure, exposing Miss Gay's equivocations on anti-Semitism and threatening consequences for inaction. Throughout the campaign, I adopted the unorthodox approach of narrating the strategy in real time, explaining how conservatives could shape the media narrative and apply pressure to Harvard. Critics condemned me as a propagandist, which you are, and a bad faith actor, which you are. Some of my allies also questioned the wisdom of telegraphing the campaign's next moves. But there was a method to my madness. Conservatives face enormous disadvantages in public discourse. Most significant, the progressive left's near monopoly on prestige media. That's just not. You guys, okay. We can't let these people keep lying, okay? Okay, because what actually happens on the, quote, progressive left media is people falling over themselves to try to demonstrate that they are unbiased. Okay, what actually happens on the far left media that Christopher Rufo is discussing right now is publications like the New York Times publishing many op-eds about why Claudine Gay needed to resign or why this was so unethical. What happens is the far left media, like the Boston Globe, publishes several articles about dissent and discord inside of Harvard, right? Like, there is no huge central masterminding of far left liberal ideology, not in mass media. That is simply not a thing. It doesn't happen like that. Okay. Okay, back to this. Public discourse. Most significant, the progressive left's near monopoly on prestige media. By raising these dynamics to the surface, we can begin to challenge and subvert them. It worked. After ignoring the story for more than a week, the center left publications began to corroborate allegations of Miss Gay's plagiarism. Exactly. And questions about her leadership. Exactly. First of all, these publications are first and foremost motivated by the desire for attention, which creates revenue. And so there is no vast left wing conspiracy to protect Black people. It's not a thing. Okay. After ignoring the story for more than a week, the center left publications began to corroborate allegations of Miss Gay's plagiarism and raise questions about her leadership. The New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Atlantic all published op eds calling for Miss Gay to resign. Exactly. The truth finally broke through. What what Christopher Rufo is actually highlighting here is this is like really like pissing me off. Okay. What Rufo is actually highlighting here is he understood the fealty and the feebleness of quote unquote left media. They are not guided by some strong, fundamental, moral or ethical imperative, like they're not guided primarily by a deep investment in progressive ideas. The Iraq War, New York Times, like that's not a thing. They are guided by trying to keep up appearances. Okay. How is it that leftists always get accused of conspiracies and propaganda? Meanwhile, the centrist right wingers lick boots up and down and act like they taste like chicken. Yeah. Okay. The left and being pro black are not aligned. That's a good point. That is not what I said. That's not what I said. I said that the quote unquote left wing media is not that left wing and certainly not pro black. Okay. Um anyways, let's go back. We still have to finish. It worked. It worked. Okay. The truth finally broke through. Miss Gay was a scholar of not much distinction who climbed the ladder of diversity politics, built a DEI empire as a Harvard dean, and catered to the worst instincts of left wing ideologues on campus. The nation's leading university had subordinated Veritas to politics, compromising its mission. The only choice was to force Miss Gay to step down. While her resignation is a victory, it is only the beginning. If America is to reform its academic institutions, the symbolic fight over Harvard's presidency must evolve into a deeper institutional fight. The Italian theorist Antonio Gramsci called the approach the quote war of position, and I do not think Gramsci is that right? I think we studied that in sociology, right? A grueling form of trench warfare in which each concept, structure, and institution must be challenged to change the culture. Oh my goodness, you guys, this perfectly aligns. I have, for many reasons, been reading a lot about the ideologies that animate right wing activism. And Rufo is articulating it here, especially using Gramsci, who is fundamentally, sorry, I can't mispronounce things. So So I'm familiar studying Gramsci, yes, Gramsci, because he theorized this idea of hegemony, right? Cultural hegemony. So I am somebody who, because I love my sociology classes, talk about hegemony a lot, which is the cultural power that sets the agenda, the the power, the institutions that shape narratives. That is hegemony. And that is what Gramsci discussed and theorized. And he often talked about how do we combat hegemony? How do we dismantle that? Why would we be invested in dismantling hegemony? It's interesting to me to see Christopher Rufo here utilizing Gramsci, somebody who was fundamentally trying to push back against the status quo in an explicitly progressive way, co-opting the work of Gramsci to say we have to dismantle DEI because right now diversity, equity, and inclusion in elite institutions represents the cultural hegemony. That shit is so fucking weird. And that aligns with so many things I've been reading recently about how anti-feminists, people who are anti-racist, you know what I mean? You know, how they are able to position themselves rhetorically as being the people who are opposed to fascism. They are utilizing the language of anti-fascism. They are utilizing the language and the theory of progressivism, honestly, populism, leftism, because they in their mind believe because of neoliberalism, we can talk about that later. That being anti-feminist, that being anti-racist, which is to be honestly racist, to be white supremacist, that is the progressive view. That is the anti-establishment view. That feminism and DEI, as Christopher Rufo has explained here, that it is oppressive, that it is oppressive and regressive. And so these people, the right-wing loonies, as we'll affectionately call them, see themselves as participating in a really important existential fight over shaping not only the narrative, shaping cultural mores, shaping institutions to regress, right? Like it's make America great again. Okay. What else is there? Step down, victory, change the culture. Gramsci. Let me remember that. Gramsci. Okay. There is a way forward. Conservatives have demonstrated an increasing sophistication in their successful campaigns against national brands such as Disney, Target, Bud Light, and now Harvard. Legislators in Florida, Texas, and other states have recently passed laws abolishing DEI in their state universities. Professors across the political spectrum are working on efforts to depoliticize academic administration, rebalance faculty politics, and restore truth as the guiding principle of American universities, including at Harvard. I would, there is one of the things that came up after the 3 university presidents testified in front of Congress was that only, I don't know, 2 or 3% of Harvard professors are pro-Trump. And that was supposed to be an indictment of Harvard. I'm like, okay, wait, why? Oh, I'm sorry, but in my mind, I'm not just saying this as, a Harvard alum. The congressional indictment of Harvard was only 3% of your faculty are pro-Trump. But in my mind, I'm like, well, doesn't that say something? Right? Like, but it's not that there's not conservatives at Harvard. There's just not pro-Trumpers. Doesn't that say something? I mean, I took a government class in undergrad with a professor who sat on Reagan's Economic Policy Council. And he wasn't pro-Trump. Doesn't that say something? Does that not say things? That's, okay. I'm sorry. Look, this is the elitism coming out, but look, every institution don't need to represent the United States. It don't. It don't. It don't. It don't. Okay. Okay. State universities, professors across the political spectrum are working on efforts to depoliticize academic administration, rebalance faculty politics, and restore truth as the guiding principles of American universities, including at Harvard. There is another reason I have adopted the practice of openly narrating the inner workings of these campaigns to teach and to embolden others. Niccolo Machiavelli, Jesus, wrote The Prince. Jesus. Now we're going back to fucking 11th grade AP Euro or 10th grade AP European history. Jesus Christ. Not for those who already knew how power worked, but for those who needed to know but didn't yet understand. If there is any hope of stopping America's cultural revolution, it must begin with a clear-eyed understanding of how to wield power and reshape institutions in the real world. Fantasy is no substitute for victory. The successful campaign to topple Harvard's president is about much more than Claudine Gay. It is about the great conflict between truth and ideology, colorblindness and discrimination, good governance and failed leadership, a conflict that, if we are to preserve America's core principles, conservatives must win. Oh, oh. That's really depressing because it's depressing because that victory lap, I mean, you can basically read the giddiness, read the eagerness to roll back the hands of time. Right. Make college administrations white again, right? Make college faculty white again. That's essentially what he's saying. It's sad. And they are winning and they will continue to win. I We've talked about the victory lap, right? And now we also need to talk about the kind of rank hypocrisy that I knew was evident in all of this Claudine Gay stuff. So Rufo in the Wall Street Journal mentioned billionaire Bill Ackman, who used the threat of withholding $1 billion to try to, he would say, persuade, I would say coerce the Harvard Corporation into forcing Claudine Gay to resign. Well, it turns out that his wife, Neri Oxman, also plagiarized. So let's read this from Business Insider. Billionaire hedge fund manager and major Harvard donor Bill Ackman seized on revelations that Harvard president Claudine Gay had plagiarized some passages in her academic work to underscore his calls for her removal following what he perceived as her mishandling of large protests against Israel's bombardment of Gaza on Harvard's campus. An analysis by Business Insider found a similar pattern of plagiarism by Ackman's wife, Neri Oxman, who became a tenured professor at MIT in 2017. Oxman plagiarized multiple paragraphs of her 2010 doctoral dissertation, Business Insider found, including at least one passage directly lifted from other writers without citation. Duh. Of course, I mean, duh. All right. There there are so many people who have done this and are doing this, allegedly. Her husband, Ackman, has taken a hardline stance on plagiarism on Wednesday, responding to news that Gay will remain part of Harvard's faculty after she resigned as president. He wrote on X that Gay should be fired completely due to serious plagiarism issues. Fuck you, Bill. Students are forced to withdraw for much less, Ackman continued, rewarding her with a highly paid faculty position. Also, again, as has been mentioned many other times, so many other people who were able to keep their tenure, who were not fired, have also found to have done the same thing. Who did I see? It was law school people. One was Charles Ogletree was one of the people who was found to have plagiarized. Alan Dershowitz. I'm sure there's many more people. Okay. An architect and artist who experiments with new ways to synthesize materials found in nature, Oxman has been the subject of profiles in major outlets such as the New York Times and Elle. She collaborated with Bjork, exhibited at MoMA, and had paparazzi stake her out after Brad Pitt visited her lab at MIT in 2018. In 2019, emails uncovered by the Boston Globe showed Ackman pressured MIT to keep Oxman's name out of a brewing scandal over an original sculpture she gave to Jeffrey Epstein in thanks for a $125,000 donation to her lab. Oh, God. While MIT and Pershing Square Foundation continue to describe her as a professor in online biographies, a spokesperson for Pershing Square Capital Management said she left MIT in 2020 after she got married, became a mother, and moved to New York City. After this article was published, MIT responded to a prior request for comment, writing that Oxman left MIT in June 2021. Her husband, meanwhile, has been vocal about wanting to see MIT's president, Sally Kornbluth, fired since Kornbluth testified on December 5th in front of a congressional panel examining how university presidents handled student protests against Israel's war in Gaza. Kornbluth said in her opening statement that she does not support speech codes that would restrict what students say during protests. Ackman attacked Kornbluth's testimony, as well as that of Gay and University of Pennsylvania President Liz McGill, as tantamount to supporting anti-Semitism. He has also criticized the president's stated goals of improving campus diversity, equity, and inclusion as violations of basic American principles. It's just so crazy to me. It's so interesting to me, right? At one point Harvard had you maybe you don't know, okay? What's interesting to me about the Jewish participation in this is that at one point, maybe about a century ago, Harvard had quotas on Jewish people. And I think it was like 20%. Like, okay. And thanks to activism, thanks to Supreme Court decisions, those quotas were struck down so that there could not like be an explicit thing saying like we can't let Jewish people in or whatever. Now, one would say that that work, the grassroots work, the political work, the legislative work to make sure that Jewish people could be represented in the Ivy League would be what? Because technically, right, like a private institution, if we're just going by the, you know, whatever, they can just pick whoever they want. But the idea was that discriminating against Jewish people in that way was anti-Semitism. So we only get, like Bill Ackman's because of explicit calls legislate legislatively and judicially to eradicate discrimination against Jewish people. It's just weird. I just find that to be weird. I just find it to be weird. Okay. Um Historical memory fades really quickly when you get what you want. Okay. I mean, I don't American principles is code words for what? Yeah. She got a PhD in 2010 and was a renowned professor in 7 years. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. I Dang. Okay, so sorry. I thought that I had put things in place so that there would not be trolls in the chat, but wasn't strong enough. All right, so this is back to Bill Ackman's wife. Ackman attacked Kornbluth's testimony. Okay. To the MIT governing boards, let's be real. If you promptly terminate President Kornbluth, I promise I won't write you a letter. Ackman posted on X December 10th, referring to an open letter he sent to Harvard's governing board criticizing Gay's leadership. Both Oxman and Ackman declined to comment when reached by Business Insider. Both posted lengthy responses on X to the piece shortly after it was published. Multiple instances of plagiarism from a 2010 dissertation. See, doing this. Right. Okay, here we go. More of this. Right. So basically, what's going to happen now is people are going to be using AI to go through all of this work to do the matching. Basically, that's what's going to happen. Ackman said Harvard president's plagiarism made her unfit to work. Like Oxman, Gay was found to have lifted passages from other academics' work without using quotation marks while citing the authors. Gay's plagiarism was seen by some academics, including many of those she plagiarized, as relatively inconsequential. George Reed Andrews, a history professor at the University of Pittsburgh and one of the people Gay plagiarized, told the New York Post that what Gay did, quote, happens fairly often in academic writing and for me does not rise to the level of plagiarism. I am glad she read my work, learned from it, and recommended it to her readers. Right. But for Bill Ackman, the plagiarism wasn't only cause for Gay's immediate ouster as Harvard's president, it also warranted her total removal from its faculty. It's just vengeance, just being spiteful. Ackman, a Harvard graduate worth roughly $4 billion, has been a prolific donor to the school. His most substantial donation of $25 million in 2014 supported the expansion of the economics department. You know, I think economics is fake. And the endowment of 3 professorships. He also made a smaller contribution to the rowing crew, a team he was part of as an undergraduate. Ackman and Oxman married in 2019, and their first child was born the same year. Also, you know, there's a thing. We're going back to this, does not relate to this, but like, you know, men who have a lot of stuff like marry impressive women. But that's neither here nor there. That's not what we're talking about right now. In 2015, Ackman purchased a luxury apartment in New York's swanky 157 building, which Oxman also lists as an address according to public records. The couple are both listed as trustees for the Pershing Square Foundation, a charitable organization. Ackman began campaigning for Gay's removal in the wake of widespread protests on Harvard's campus. Okay. Ackman also intimated that he had inside information that Gay had only been offered the job as Harvard's president because she is a black woman. Come on, y'all. On X, he wrote he had been informed that Harvard would not choose a president who did not meet the DEI office's criteria. It's so nakedly racist. Gay, he implied, would likely not have obtained the role of president were it not for a fat finger on the scale. I'm sorry, the person who was dean of social sciences, dean of FAST, which is Faculty of Arts and Sciences, why would she not get you guys, I just can't. I'm just sad. It's just crazy stuff. Harvard's governing body, the Harvard Corporation, initially stood by Gay's handling, but Ackman remains on the hunt for one more head. It's just power. It's so crazy how Jewish people, okay. I abhor anti-Semitism. I think it is disgusting. I think that people who blanketly say all Jewish people always have white privilege all the time, that is not the truth. They are conditionally white. I hate to quote Dr. Umar, but he said something on the Joe Budden podcast, probationary white or whatever he said, right? What becomes really frustrating in these kinds of conversations is Jewish people signing up to be utilized by clearly anti-Semitic, overtly white supremacist, crazy right-wing lunatics. That's crazy to me. And I understand that Black conservatives, or I don't even know what is Ice Cube. He's a conservative or whatever. The people who want to work with Donald Trump and shit. They're like, oh, we need to do that too. We also need to, Black people also need to get buddy buddy with the white supremacists if they're gonna give us what we want. I completely reject that. Totally wholesale. I reject it. Because next week the Elise Stefanik and all of the other backwards hillbilly hick Republicans, and not just hillbilly hicks, right? Because I should underscore that lots of quote unquote cosmopolitan, seemingly well read, well traveled people are also bigots. That next week they're gonna be doing anti-Semitic shit, like these are the Jews will not replace us people. You are opping up with the Jews will not replace us people. That is so crazy to me. That is so crazy to me. These are the fine people on both sides people that the Jewish billionaires are running to. I find that to be insane. I find that to be insane. Okay. This reminds me how Kanye shaking hands with Trump lives in my head, and I gotta start charging them rent. Yeah. I okay. So anyways, um nothing can happen to Neri Oxman because she's the wife of a billionaire. She doesn't have a job. Is Bill Ackman going to apologize now that his wife has been deemed a plagiarist? No. No. Because it's not about moral clarity. It's not about moral consistency. It is about winning. It's not about some deeply held, close to the chest set of ideologies or beliefs or morals or ethics. It's about getting your way. It's about winning. And that's why I can't take those people seriously. That also corroborates what I have been saying and repeating again and again about how widespread this kind of quote plagiarism is for especially for people in their dissertations. You're just trying to freaking get your dissertation done. That's it. Situational power. Okay. Um Now, how long has it been? Oh, it's been an hour. I'll put on my um this is gonna be a long ass late night live stream. I well, let me look at some more. Okay, I cannot go into the comments and block that person. So, I thought I put here that you could only comment in the chat if you have been a subscriber of the channel for a certain amount of time, but maybe people do subscribe to the channel in order to troll me. So, I did not take that into consideration. Okay, let's move on to the next part of this. I wanted to connect what happened to Liz McGill and Claudine Gay to something that I have been experiencing over the past year on this platform, not because I am anywhere near as esteemed or brilliant or composed or whatever as those women, but because, as Christopher Rufo articulated in that WSJ op ed, that the perpetrators of these kinds of attacks are going to do it again and again and again. They're all going to use the same playbook until they get every single thing that they want. These kinds of attacks are going to become more and more pervasive in all kinds of contexts. The right wing lunatics are not, they don't want to play fair. They don't want to do the political organizing, right? Like they don't want to um do the work that it takes to legitimately win hearts and win minds. So they're just going to lie. They're just going to lie. And they can't just disagree with you. They can't just debate the ideas. They are going to dial up the quantity and severity of the harassment until it reaches an untenable level where the victim just relents and the perpetrator of that harassment can claim victory in a really flagrant, overt way, the way that Rufo did in the Wall Street Journal. And I've been thinking about this for a long, long time about what it is, about the consequences of this for people who are not at elite institutions, people who are not hyper visible. We are going to see it in communities. We're going to see it in school boards. We're going to see it in big corporations. We're going to see it in small companies. It's going to be everywhere. Nobody, if you even could possibly be associated with diversity, equity, and inclusion, if you can even be tangentially associated with progressivism in any way, you're going to be a target. What's interesting to me is Claudine Gay, this caricature of Claudine Gay that they're trying to point her as some far left activist. Whenever people say that about Harvard professors and Harvard faculty and administrators, I'm just like, y'all are smoking dicks. These people are center left at best, but really center right. DEI does not mean left wing, right? I've sat in class with Claudine Gay, talked to her at office hours, had her grade my work. This is not a Cornell West. It's not. Nice lady, generous lady, brilliant woman, not progressive. But anyways, um I do think we need to be more serious about calling out these tactics for what they are, and underscoring the consequences. And so I'm going to call what we have seen and what we are seeing digital terrorism. It's the use of online harassment, stalking, bullying, threats, and doxing in pursuit of political aims. And yes, I am going to bring it back to me. I am. Because I've been holding this in for a year. And I think it's just time to let it all out, tell the truth, shame the devil, move on. Jump scare, right? Oh my God. It's okay. We're going to make it through. Don't worry. I have gone out of my way um, not to say this man's name. I will never say his name in public. I have made it so that if you say his name in the chat, it will automatically get deleted. If you say his name in the comments, it will automatically get deleted. It will not appear here. Okay, so this man, the small one in the center, is a self-proclaimed founder of a subsection of the manosphere. He is extremely right wing. He describes himself as, quote, a non select man, and he viscerally hates Black feminists. We actually spent some time tracking his IP address, and super Trump person even owns some pro Trump domains, like a Trumpware 2024 domain or something like that. Yeah, really extreme. Um, Again, no links, no names. Okay, everything is going to be filtered out in the comments. Yeah. Oh, for people asking, the non-select are people who feel like they are at extreme disadvantage in the dating and marriage market. Obviously, okay, well, you see it. You see it. The other reason why I am choosing not to name is because I understand that the desire for notoriety incentivizes people to do really nasty, reckless things. I think the sequence of events that happened was last year. That man DM'd me on Instagram asking for me to appear on his platform. And then I made a video critiquing hashtag passport bros when it was going really viral on social media, right? On TikTok and on YouTube. And since I made that video in January of 2023, I've been experiencing a year of intense, relentless, unscrupulous, petty, personal harassment. And for the last, we'll say, 5 months, my boyfriend has been experiencing the same thing. And the harassment is meant not just to discredit me and my ideas about Black feminism, my ideas about partnership, my ideas about progress, but it's clear that the aims are also to humiliate me. So he began this campaign in January with an 8-hour and 42-minute long live stream filled with lies about me and misrepresentations about my politics. And he ended the year on December 31st with a 7-hour and 19-minute long live stream filled with more lies about me and my romantic partner. So throughout the entire year of 2023, he uploaded more than 30 videos filled with lies, malicious lies, things that are obviously false, things that anybody who even passingly interacts with me or my social media accounts or my content know is false. Just blatantly, just lying. And, I said 30 plus because I'm genuinely not sure. There honestly could be so many more videos where I am mentioned and lied about, but I only had the stomach to go through 30 plus videos. Like, I'm not doing more. So I thought I would discuss some of the lowlights in order to make the point. So before I get into the first example of this kind of right-wing lunacy, I have to do a trigger warning. This video will probably be demonetized because I'm gonna play this. But this is just, y'all watch. An event for Black women, either in Dallas or elsewhere, once a month. So, next month's event is going to be Paint and Sip.
That's it! That's it right there! Are you fucking kidding me? Kimberly Nicole Foster is going to sponsor a sucking paint event!
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
Let's go to the tape!
Passport Bros is not so much an identity, a collective of people who have decided that they are going to flee the United States and find wives. It's more an ideology. And that's where it becomes concerning because the men are flocking to this ideology and the connection is not a genuine desire for love and companionship. The connection is hate, disdain, distaste, malice toward American Black women. And I was just reading about how effectively the manosphere generally and Passport Bros in particular are able to utilize memes. Like they speak to each other in memes, written memes and visual memes. And memes are so easily the distribution, I was gonna say distributable, that's not a term. The distribution of memes is so easy that we see them over and over and over again, and people are internalizing these ideas and not necessarily connecting these ideas to hashtag Passport Bros, but connecting these ideas explicitly to how loud, ratchet, ghetto, masculine Black women are. And that stuff extends beyond interpersonal relationships. That stuff is not about, oh, they don't want to marry me or date me. When we see the repetition, the spread, the reiteration time and time again of this stuff about Black women, my concern is not, oh, don't go. Please don't, okay? Leave us out of it. My concern is more shit thrown onto the backs of Black women who are already contending with so much shit. That's it.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it for yourself. Kimberly Foster, the Black feminist from Harvard, owner and operator and founder of For Harriet, is going to organize an exotic painting event, sucking paint event in the Dallas area for the lovely ladies. That is what her great contribution is to the community. God damn it, we got to give a go for this one. Andre Canto!
Okay. So that was in March 2023, March 17th, if I'm remembering correctly. He published that video after I accurately pointed out that he is a professional liar. And I pointed out how completely insane it is for his girlfriend to sit beside him and discuss my body and my love life. Speaking of, So I was particularly perplexed by her being a fat woman who produces content for her boyfriend's platform where he constantly attacks everything she is. Makes videos like, yes, BBWs are for poor loser guys, and calls women fat hogs and tells men that if you take a woman out on a date, she better know that y'all are gonna have sex. I found that to be questionable, you know? And the thing is, maybe Gen X doesn't exactly understand how the internet works, you know? Um, Maybe it was a surprise to them that simply using a pseudonym and putting on sunglasses is not enough to, to prevent people from discovering what you do in your life. But they found that to be particularly outrageous. So that's that. Um, I then tried to ignore it, right? Because after that video, I realized that we're dealing with a crazy person, right? Like an obviously deranged person. Um, I even said in that video that I posted, look, I understand that this woman who is doing this, and I was really, look, I expect Black women to have sense. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I have pretty low expectations, especially of the right wing men, no matter the race. But I do expect Black women of a certain age to move with some dignity. You know, have some integrity about yourself. So yeah, I was really dismayed by that entire situation. And for me, the craziest part of that situation was how often she appeared on that platform while appearing to do social justice work. That is the kind of dichotomy that strikes me as not only unfathomable, unbelievable, but frankly dangerous. And so I discussed that. But I went out of my way to not name names and to not post images because I'm not deeply invested in, really tearing down this woman just because of what she wants to do. I found it to be disgusting, despicable, deplorable, unconscionable, embarrassing. But look, as Taylor Swift once said, the trash takes itself out every single time. So I moved on. But, after experiencing that kind of back and forth and really seeing the depths of some people's depravity, it did kind of take the sheen and the shine off of making content for me. And I really was demotivated, especially over here. Especially over here. I love For Harriet. For Harriet is my baby. We have done so much together. All of us have collaborated to make such good work and make this like a real thing, and we've given out scholarships and we've helped people fund their dream and we help people go back to school and start businesses, and it's been great. But once For Harriet became the primary site and the primary catalyst for my online harassment, I took a step back. And that's one of the reasons why I heard people say like, "Oh, Claudine Gay should have fought. She should have fought." I'm like, people do not understand the enormous emotional, psychological toll, which then translates into a physical toll of being lied about and being harassed and being mocked and being degraded and being humiliated. I damn near resigned from my own channel. I've been doing this a long time, and I am not new to ideological debates or ideological disputes. Y'all have seen me get into a couple of back and forths. And generally what happens is you get into a little bit of a beef, It's a little bit of a skirmish, a dust up. Y'all trade some words, and everybody moves on. That is not what happened. And I thought I would just let him tire himself out, but that I would not acknowledge it moving forward. And eventually, that lack of acknowledgement would result in him just moving on. Different topic, different subject. That was wrong. He replays that video generally multiple times in every single live stream since. So for the past 9 or 10 months, he replays that psychotic ass shit multiple times, in sometimes it's 3 hours, sometimes it's 4 hours, sometimes it's 6 hours, sometimes it's 8 hours. And look, somebody said to me, Kim, why do you care if it's not true? Why do you care if it's not true? It's clear, like it's not. And it's like, it's scary to see people become this obsessed and this committed to inflicting harm. That's scary. Okay, so that is March 17th, 2023. Kimberly's face next to softcore pornography, alleging that Kimberly throws sex trafficking events in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So he then proceeded, despite me completely disengaging, he went on a bit of a run in the spring and summer of last year. So we have, I'm reading titles. So what is this? Wait, April 15th. Okay, what is this? I have to go back a little. Okay. Sorry, I'm using my teleprompter. We're going back. April 13th, 2023. Overeducated Black feminist for Harriet thinks she's a 7, LAMO, 3 hours and 54 minutes, based on a 60-second TikTok. April 28th, 2023. Who told for Harriet at Kimberly Nicole Foster that she's a 7, LMAO? Then there was another 4-hour-long live stream filled with lies and mistruths on May 3rd. May 25th, 2023, Kimberly Foster is ugly. May 25th, 2023, women like Kimberly Foster are delulu. Mind you, this is a 55-year-old man. June 9th, 2023, who told Kimberly Foster she's a 7? That video is 20 minutes long. June 12th, 2023, professional matchmaker explains why Kimberly Nicole Foster is really butthurt, LOL. Now, at this point, I am doing such a good job of not engaging, not responding, blocking it all out. And clearly he was bothered. On a live stream, June 12th, 2023, it's 4 hours and 47 minutes long. He said something to the tune of, this is Kimberly Foster. She's been quiet since I published that video that juxtaposed her face next to softcore pornography. But I'm going to keep talking about her because that makes me money. Now, I did not see that video until months later. Okay. But I did what everybody says to do, right? Everybody says, who cares if it's not true? Just ignore it. He'll get tired. He'll go away. Don't engage it. Didn't engage it. Just let him think that, don't even post on the channel. Don't even give him any fodder. Didn't. When he made a 3 hour and 54-minute live stream about the first one on April 15th or whatever, 2023, about a 60-second TikTok, that TikTok was old. Like a year old. Like I made that in the summer of 2022. So he was clearly doing it to get my attention, to get under my skin, to annoy me and aggravate me. I am so proud of myself for doing such a great job. He was intentionally adding for Harriet, adding Kimberly Nicole Foster, right, to make sure I saw it, never engaged. Okay. So I didn't even think of engaging with that person until this. I was completely detached from it until August of 2023 when curiosity killed the cat. Curiosity got the best of me. I looked in the comments of one of those old videos about how I was supposedly single and desperate, which is so funny, right? So funny, right? When I say these people are liars, I mean that I have been annoying the fuck out of y'all for the past year because I have been crazily, deeply, madly in love. And I can't shut the fuck up about it. And people have been telling me, like, Kim, shut the fuck up. Stop trying to tell us to have hope, right? Because I can't, you can't hold it in. But still, the narrative was, Kimberly is single and desperate. So we're in August 2023 at this point when I'm going back to comments of older videos about how I can't get a man. Okay. And I look through the comments and I see that he's on a mission to name my boyfriend. And immediately my heart sank. Immediately I'm on high alert because I know he's only doing this to get my attention. And he is going to absolutely name my boyfriend. So, stupid Kimberly, I get in the comments and I'm trying to reason with him. I say, look, I do not care if you're a professional liar. Now, this is I'm paraphrasing. Be a professional liar. I don't care if you lie about me. People lie about me all the time. I don't care if you tell lies to your audience. Let them believe in their fairy tales. But it does not make sense to begin now lying about my partner simply because you don't like that I'm a Black feminist. That strikes me as nuts. As soon as I had that exchange with him, I emailed the people I know, the highest people up that I knew at YouTube. I think they took some action. I think that they got some of those videos removed. I'm not exactly sure which one. But of course that was not a deterrent. It only escalated. Until we get to this kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And this kind of stuff. This is what he posted over there. So as of January 2024, we are now months into him posting stuff like that. It is disturbing and the lies are nonstop. Lying ridiculous stuff about my boyfriend, about who he is, about how much money he earns, about what he does for a living, about how he is a raggedy bum, who's not cute. Look, we all have our off days. We all have our off pictures. But one thing about Kimberly, she's superficial. That's a cute man. Okay? That's a cute man. Objectively. And especially a cute man. I mean, that's why the many side by sides, post after post of who looks better, who wore it best. These people are. There's 14 I counted blog posts. 7 or 8 of those blog posts include side by side pictures of either him next to my boyfriend or me and my boyfriend next to him and his partner. I am sorry, and I don't mean this to be ageist. I don't. But there is no thinking sentient person who is seriously comparing us to middle-aged people, and that is fine. It's fine. It's fine. But, like, what's going on here? Why are you doing that? So, you're going to my boyfriend, not a public figure, not a content creator, social media, downloading pictures from his birthday party, downloading pictures from before we were even together to post them side by side with you. Does that strike you as the behavior of a mentally sound person? Not one post, not two, several, over the course of many months. And so, I'm bad about getting in the mud with pigs. After months and months of the lies, I finally said to him a couple of days ago, I will pay you money if you can tell me right now what my boyfriend does for a living. You've spent months lying about him on YouTube, on Clubhouse, on Twitter, in the YouTube community tab, on Facebook, how he's a dusty, how he's a bum. I said, I will pay you money right now if you can tell me what his profession is. He couldn't do it. Of course he couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. So you're telling me that you spent months sticking your minions on this man, lying about this man, and you had no idea who he is. No idea. This only started because a person, I don't even know who this is. I don't know who that is. Said, look, Kim has a man and he's quote unquote high value. I don't know this person from Adam. Oh, okay. Well, let's keep it moving. Sorry, let me look at the comments. It's a shame. It's the older folks. Yeah. Point blank, period. The obsession is terrifying. Jesus, for what? Yeah. I don't understand the comparison. Would he rather you prefer him? What's the obsession? I'm so sorry you've ever had to deal with this. Okay. What do I believe the obsession is? I believe it began as being jealous of me. I think there was a deep desire, a need for me to go back and forth with him, engage him in debate, like, I'm Lincoln and he's Douglas, to engage him like we're in Hamilton, writing letters, we're writing the Federalist Papers back and forth to each other. Acknowledge him as an intellectual peer? Absolutely not. No. There is a reason why he mentions Harvard, Harvard, Harvard so much, puts Harvard in the titles of the videos, puts the Harvard crest in the thumbnails of the videos. But then that jealousy got transferred onto my boyfriend. My boyfriend happens to be a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. And he's posting about this man who did not go to college, who is not a Kappa, posting about Kappa in the history of the cane? Why are you doing that? That's weird. Posting side by sides who wore it best with a stranger? It's weird. Insane. So we went from months and months of lying. Kimberly is single. Kimberly is desperate. Kimberly can't get a man. That lie can't hold anymore. So we go to Kimberly is dating a bum. He's ugly. He's fat. He can't dress. That's a lie. He don't have a good job. That's a lie. Right? Saying all this stuff when you have no idea what he does for a living, no idea what his profession is. And I'm trying to still engage in good faith. Like, you've got this wrong. You've got this wrong. What you're saying is completely false. You know, my boyfriend said to me, we're getting away from the outline, but at every step of the way, whenever I think that it can't get worse or more ridiculous, it does. And he said to me, "You're shocked because you did not grow up in an abusive environment." I remember, I think we were at the mall or at the movies or something, and he said, "You're shocked by this behavior because you don't have any experience with elders acting this way. You expect elders to have dignity and integrity. I know they don't." And he gagged me. Gagged. Yeah. I guess I do expect black people who are 20 something years older than me, to not do that. Okay. So we are now, okay, we're months into it. I just wanted to underscore that again, not to, I don't know what it's like to be targeted and attacked like that on the national stage by a right-wing lunatic. But I do know what it's like to be targeted and attacked like that on a much, much smaller level. And I think that more of us need to be prepared for that kind of animus, that kind of hyper focused malice, unfortunately, on a micro level. And I think that that is what the Christopher Rufos of the world, like, that's the aim. You change culture by terrorizing people who disagree with you into submission. And yeah, like, for a minute over here, the terrorists won. They did, because I couldn't. You know how in that really famous interview, Toni Morrison said, the very function of racism is to be a distraction? It is impossible to do your work. It is impossible to do your work when you have that going on. When every time you post something, you tweet something, every time my boyfriend would tweet, I'm like, he has 500 followers, you guys. But still, we have to worry about every time. Okay. Even beyond political alignments, I also think entities like Stan Twitter are only gonna get worse and worse. Yeah. If you could go back, how would you have prepared? I would never have acknowledged it. My instinct when I got the DM about appearing on the platform was, "Are you fucking kidding?" No. And then he made what's the timeline? Like, let me look. In January 2023, January 12th, there's 8 hours and 24 minutes. January 13th, 3 hours and 47 minutes. January 18th, 3 hours and 6 minutes. I never should have acknowledged it. Um, Then there's March 16th, 5 hours and 42 minutes, a video about me keeping women single despite the fact that I'm obnoxiously in love and telling y'all, go find him, go out there, just keep dating, right? Then we get the March 17th. Then we get an hour video on March 20th. I never should have acknowledged it. Because every single time I acknowledge it or try to defend myself or go back and forth, it gives him hope. Every single time. And like you notice in that pattern that from April to June, a variation of Kimberly is ugly. Who told Kimberly she's a 7? Kimberly is ugly just keeps getting re-uploaded. Cause I'm not, I wasn't engaging. But again, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not sure if I could have prepared. And then after learning that this is a pattern for him, after learning the names of other women that I won't share here, 3 or 4 other women that he has, either posted their home address or cyber stalked them or harassed them or bullied them for months and months on end. It's like, what can you do? When you realize that and Claudine Gay said this, right, in her editorial, that you're a target not for what you've actually done or believe. You're a target because of what you represent. So I am the Black feminist boogeyman who can't get a man, wants everybody to be single, is ugly. And by the way, it's so funny because like that video, that little TikTok that I made, it's just funny to me that like he was always calling me ugly, like when I just look so good, like I look so cute. That's being Kim. That's being Kim. But I was like, I look great. Like, what are you saying? But it's like it's not rooted in it's not rooted in truth. Like, what are you saying? Or like posting up side by side with my boyfriend, like, who did it best? Not you. Like, what? Come on. It No, you know it ain't you. You know it ain't. Um Um, but, like, trying to attack things, like, that people think they're gonna get me. I'm sorry, my self-esteem is just a tad too high to fall into that trap. That's not the way. Um, a target for what you represent is interesting because he's obviously jealous of everything you represent, and that unfortunately includes your love life as well, right? Um, yeah. I think, oh, and by the way, I wanna, like, underscore here. So, after that series of, from April to June, a variation of, Kimberly Nicole Foster is ugly, right? Hours and hours of Kimberly Nicole Foster is ugly, and I don't even know what's happening. I find out later that my boyfriend does know what's happening, and, because we don't follow each other on Twitter because it's easy for people when y'all follow each other to, like, whatever. I didn't know that he was tweeting about it. Like, what the fuck is this man's deal? like like tweeting, like the manosphere is full of fucking dweebs, basically, tweeting about the hypocrisy of how are you body shaming this woman when you're fat? Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I had no idea he was doing this. Now, later, that became the pretext for why that man decided to and continues to cyberstalk my boyfriend. Oh, well, he was talking shit, so now I have to cyberstalk him forever. Completely disingenuous. Man, I talked because I was really doing bad over the weekend. So I talked to my old therapist and she said, Kim, you're caught up in a cycle of abuse. This is a classic cycle of abuse. This is Darvo to a T, which is deny, attack, reverse victim and offender role. And so you need to figure out some good coping mechanisms because abusers abuse. He's not going to stop. So when I say like the terrorists won, they did. And I also believe the terrorists are going to keep winning, unfortunately, until institutions and platforms get a backbone. I have um, explained what's happened here to YouTube execs a couple of times, and I'm going to do it again. Um, in a more organized fashion in front of everybody next month. And it strikes me that these platforms are so afraid of being viewed as biased that they do not address behavior that is clearly beyond the pale. I mentioned on my Instagram stories, if you're a Black woman, academics, doctors, lawyers, people who've worked in the criminal legal system. And somebody I know who is a former prosecutor, emphasis on former, said when I was, showing her all of the posts and the side by sides of him and my boyfriend, and then me and my boyfriend with him and his girlfriend, said, Kim, this is the stuff we find in people's homes before they murder people. Um, this person, strangely, this person is saying that by being honest about her actions on the internet and publishing this picture in the middle of her with Tarana Burke that I have done some kind of tortious, harm to her. Um that's weird. But I f- there's just a now I'm being painted as the aggressor. I mean, I do think it is strange that you have no problem or seem to have no problem or have not expressed to me or anybody publicly that you have a problem with being seen next to a man who has multiple allegations of cyber stalking and harassment, but you are threatening to sue me over posting a picture of you with Tarana Burke. I feel like that's strange. I think that deserves some interrogation. The audacity. The audacity. After you have participated in producing content where images from my social media are published, appear in videos where images from my social media are in the thumbnail, but I've done grievous harm by doing my job of commenting why it's a little bit strange. It's a little bit strange that somebody who produces content for the Black manosphere would also appear in this image with Tarana Burke. I think there's some good commentary there. Something's happening there. Shout out to fair use in the United States. The audacity. But the other thing that my therapist said, which also has made me think deeply about how I engage in this, is she said, "Look, if somebody is willing to do this repeatedly in public, you have no idea what they're doing in private." And I'm sympathetic to that view. I am. So, yeah, that's that on that. Um, so I think I'll underscore that digital terrorism is going to become more rampant, more widespread, more normalized. And they're going to win because the success of those campaigns does not hinge on whether or not what they say is true. It depends, the success depends on, relies upon whether or not people feel like it's true, whether or not people think it's true. And that's this really scary place to be in, because if you have ethics and morals and things to lose, there's only so far you're willing to go. But people who don't have that will do anything. They will say anything. And you cannot win against people who are willing to do and say anything. It's like you can't. And I'm pretty far left. I'm actually not ever surprised when people take issue with the things that I say. That's what makes me a good content creator, right? I'm a good content creator because I have very strong opinions. I'm outspoken as hell. I have a little bit of fight in me. I don't hold back. And, I don't intend to hold back in the future. But the same kinds of things happen to people like me, happen to the most honestly assimilated, respectable, docile types of quote unquote DEI representatives, feminist representatives. Look, Liz McGill is a white woman. Bill Ackman said he's trying to get Sally Kornbluth out and she's Jewish. People who are seen to embody the ideas. So it's not about the individuals. No. Whether or not you experience online abuse, harassment, stalking don't really have that much to do with what you actually think. And I agree with y'all that there's not, you can't really prepare for obsessed lunatics. But I think that we can there is a certain kind of vitriol that spews out of people who feel like they have been rejected from things, who feel like they have been left on the outside. What I found to be funny when I was reading up about Christopher Rufo, I found this article from the New Republic about how, Rufo writes at length about we need to reclaim these institutions and they've lost their way and nobody wants to be associated with them or whatever anymore. But Rufo lists in his credentials a quote unquote degree from Harvard, but he didn't go to Harvard. He went to Harvard Extension School. That's a lie. Everybody knows. Harvard Extension School is not Harvard. Why are you lying? You hate the institution. It needs to be dismantled. You're the one to do it. They have a stranglehold on the culture. They're ruining American life. Why are you lying about attending? That's weird. And it's the same shit with that man and his preoccupation with me, always bringing up, oh, I did hard labor and I'm brilliant and I wrote a book that did well on Amazon. Okay, that don't mean shit to me. And that doesn't mean shit to most people. That don't mean shit to 99.9% of the world. But you keep bringing it up to make it seem like we're here. We're not. And we'll never be. Exclusion breeds resentment. It breeds a deep-seated, like unquenchable, you know what I mean, kind of anger. A fiery anger. And baby, I know as soon as he found out my boyfriend was a Kappa, oh, I know he was gnashing his teeth, wailing. Then had to lie for 6 months about, oh, he don't have a real job and he's never made any money. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, else do I have here? Yeah, and I think that there is also something, like men aiming their resentment from not being able to be legitimately recognized within these institutions at women. That's a thing. Um, but also, maybe it's not even just gender, right? Because Elise Stefanik did graduate from Harvard and she used to be a part of the Institute of Politics, but I think she got removed. And now she, got a little taste of fame talking crazy to Claudine Gay. Yeah. Anyways, you guys, I'm just on here. I'm glad to be back. This will be up. It needs to be edited because, I'm just talking, getting my sea legs back. But what else do I have? Oh, I am so thankful and appreciative to everybody who has reached out to me. I mean, it's been almost overwhelming. I've talked about this on Instagram, talked about this on Twitter. I just haven't talked about it here. I've talked about it behind the paywall. And, that's I've I've been able to glean a lot of information to help me prepare a case for hopefully removing this man from this platform permanently because apparently he was removed before. I mean, it's bad when even the red pill men are like, "Hey, do you need this? He sent this email out. Here's the email." It's bad when they're DMing me on Instagram. I hate feminism. I disagree with everything that you say, everything that you stand for, but I want to help you because this man is crazy. He's disgusting. He's embarrassing. Now, look, I'm not trying to be arm in arm with the red pill men, but if y'all want to send me some screenshots, send me some screenshots. Y'all want to send me some video clips, send them. Turn your life around. Get right. Get right. I don't support it. Send screenshots. Thank you. Because as great as sympathy is, as great as empathy is, as appreciative as I am for the number of people who I don't know and have never met who are deeply invested in my well-being, I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. I am okay. I signed up for this job. What I need is help removing that man from this platform. That's what I need. For real. The last thing I wanted to say was over the past year, I have learned so much about the law, about copyright law, about what constitutes slander, libel, defamation, about what fair use is and how the Constitution has been determined to protect our ability to comment meaningfully on media. And I've spent a lot of money I spent a lot of money gaining that education. And everybody should not have to spend that money. So this year, I am investing in a project called Making Things is Hard, where I share the knowledge and the insights that I've learned about making content. There is a link to what's going to start as a newsletter below. I hope y'all will sign up. And my aim is to make content with like lawyers, IP lawyers, copyright lawyers. Think if you can't afford the counsel, because I've spent a lot of money last year affording the counsel, um, that information should be free, you know? And so I want people to know what their rights are, because that's the other thing that this woman is really upset about the publishing of this image and alleges that it has done enormous harm to her simply publishing the image and discussing it. And that man has also spent a great deal of time threatening people about not republishing those images. But those threats are they're toothless. I Look, anybody can be sued for anything. I'm not worried about losing. I'll tell you that. You can't stop being sued, but I can stop losing. I'm not worried about losing. Because I think that's really fucking weird. I think it's fucking weird. But anyways, we'll get into it at a different point. So anyways, I want to help people in the future. I've been thinking about how do I turn a test into a testimony? And how can I turn a really horrible traumatic experience into something that I can learn from and something that other people can learn from? And hopefully I can do that. So I hope y'all will sign up. When even the red pills are taking, oh, it's been 2 hours. I've been on here for a long time. You know, I don't love to just keep long, unedited live streams up like that, but I'll keep this one up for a minute and then I'll go back and edit it and figure something out. Whenever the oh, y'all, I forgot. I'm wearing merch. Shout out to the merch girls. Kim coming back gave me life. I remember when I first saw you reviewing the Dumbass Harriet film with Cynthia. Oh, this is so sweet. Thank you guys. I appreciate. I've never heard of this person. I've never heard of this person. Yeah. Bill Ackman put his whiteness before his Jewishness, talking about racism against white people. Yeah, that's so fascinating. Anyways, I am using 2024 to reclaim my power. I'm not going back and forth with weirdos. No, I'm not, because sometimes that impulse control does get a little it gets a little shaky. I'm not engaging right-wing lunatics. I'm not engaging liars. I will engage whatever, litigation, crosses my desk, but it is what it is. You know, my lawyer said, I hope those people have $1,000 an hour. I said, I hope they do. Because I ain't paying it. I don't lie. I don't exaggerate. I don't fabricate. I tell the truth. Okay. Will you ever bring back the Read More Bell Hooks merch? Sure. You know what? Okay, I will do that. Oh, crap. I got off topic, okay? I brought this up. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm getting freaking sidetracked. I brought this up to say that I am so, I'm PMSing, so I'm emotional, even though I'm emotional anyways. Um, I am so lucky to have found a partner who is willing and eager to take an enthusiastic public stance against misogyny. Right? Like, it's not lost on me that I could be laid up with a man who, in his free time, makes videos about how disgusting fat Black women are. I could be laid up with a man who tweets obsessively about Applebee's, or like, tweets of, obsessively about child support, I could be that person. I could be with a man talking about, oh, Kevin Samuels made some points, right? Like that's a thing. I could be laid up with a man who sees the 30 plus videos and 80 hours of content and says, "Oh, I'm just going to stay out of that. That has nothing to do with me." But I'm not. And like, yeah, like that's the bare minimum of what a good partner should do. Like not being a misogynist, not being homophobic, not being transphobic, like being protective is like the bare minimum of what a good partner should do. But I know that most people don't have good partners. I know that some people have partners that lead them to send baseless cease and desist because they feel like their career was harmed. That's my opinion. It's my opinion. That's from Real Housewives of OC. So I'm really grateful. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my partner. I'm grateful for y'all. Anything else before we close it out? I'm just looking at the comments. Looking at the comments. It's so sad that a lot of women can't be guaranteed that their partners won't be misogynistic. I think most women can't be guaranteed that their partners won't be misogynistic. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, so I will put up the well, somebody will eventually put up the timestamps because I did talk about Bill Ackman. Anyways, despite all of that, I still love this job. This is still the best job in the world. I want those people to leave me alone. Just, leave me alone. But look, here's the thing. Do I think that they are going to? No. I don't think that, me coming on here and, discussing this, it's not a deterrent. I've now just completely relinquished the expectation, the idea, the hope that he's going to stop. I don't think he has. He has no incentive to stop. Mm-mm. But I now have more incentive to keep going. So anyways, I will come back tomorrow. Okay. I solicited from behind the paywall voicemails about this situation. So I will come back tomorrow and play the voicemails and we will discuss them tomorrow. Buy some merch. Shopknf.com. Military green is this one. Ooh, somebody also asked if these are ethically sourced. These sweatshirts are ethically sourced. I know for sure. Um, this Black Women Are You Okay and the Black Girls Deserve Love Stories. I know for sure. I have to check. I don't want to lie. But I know for sure that these are. And if you have a similar kind of experience, if you have a similar kind of story, leave a comment down below. And you can also leave a comment, in trying to build a resource for content creators. I think what often happens is people try to use legalese. People try to use lawyers to intimidate people who don't know the law, to intimidate people who don't have access to lawyers. And so I would like to hopefully create a resource for us to all become better acquainted. If you're a content creator, if you're a person who makes things, if you're interested in social media or digital media, to better understand the business and to better understand the law. That's my aim. And to better understand your rights, how you can protect yourself. Because no, we don't have the right to just use whatever images for whatever reason or whatever videos for whatever reason. But in the United States, we do have really, really rigorous free speech protections that are meant to encourage creativity, to encourage knowledge production. And that's what I be doing. Okay. Kind of related to the conservative subversion of progressive ideology, what do you think of the related co-optation of language? Semantically bleaching terms like BLM, Antifa, woke. Oh, it's too late for me to my brain can't even think of that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, you guys. It's late. We did it. Shout out to the never mind. I know somebody said, in 2024, you need to make it a resolution to only mention your boyfriend once a week. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being in love. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.